This game looks vaguely familiar. No, this is not Astrosmash for the Intellivision. No, friends, this is Astro Blast for the Atari 2600 video computer system by Mattel Electronics. Astro Blast is very similar to Astrosmash on Intellivision. The only difference is the name. The fact that Astro Blast supports both the standard Atari joystick and the standard Atari paddle controller. Astrosmash supports whatever's on Intellivision. I'd elaborate, but I don't have Intellivision, so I can't. I do have Intellivision Lives. Does that count? Okay. Settle down.
No, it does not, but that's okay because today we have proper Astrosmash on Intellivision, which supports the standard Intellivision disc controller and nothing else, because they had nothing else. While Astro Blast on 2600 supports the joystick and paddle controller, but we've already been there, so whatever. Released in 1981, Astrosmash is a static shooter where a variety of space debris is falling from the sky and you have to blow it all up. Obviously, if your turret collides with any piece of debris, you lose a life. Also, if these white bombs hit the ground, you also lose a life. Any other bits of debris hitting the ground will merely deduct points from your score, so you have a little more incentive to try and hit as many things as possible to maintain a high score in this game. You start off with a couple lives and are rewarded with another every 1,000 points scored. After a while, the sky will change colors and the point value for destroying these things doubles and eventually triples, which means higher scores galore, but also means more intense dropping of debris, which comes down faster and harder. Obviously, the key to success is control, and playing with the stock Intellivision controller, you'd assume it would be quite terrible, because I've not been complimentary of this thing in the past. But on the contrary, Astrosmash is one of the few occasions where controls actually work out quite nicely. You're only moving left or right anyway, and that works out fine, and your turret has some decent speed to move around, so it's easy to dodge things. Perhaps a bit too easy, but that's another story. You can fire using the side buttons, which can cramp things up if you're not used to holding those controllers, but by pressing 1 on the keypad, you can enable auto-fire, which makes it so that your cannon is continuously firing a stream of projectiles until you disable the feature by pressing 2 or eventually die. While some would consider this an easy mode of sorts or a cheat since all you have to worry about is moving the cannon around and not aiming at things, I'd call it a valuable tool in making sure my hands do not get hurt, cramped, or outright destroyed by using the side buttons of this questionable controller. But again, I've already made my case on that thing countless times, so I will not beat the dead horse unless it inhibits gameplay, which in this case, it does not, for once. There's also an asteroids-like hyperspace function that you can enable to warp your cannon to different parts of the scenery, but I never really found much use for this. I mostly just stuck with dodging the flying debris and shooting what I can out of the sky, and really the continuous stream of firing, whether with auto-fire or a steady trigger finger and cast iron grip on the controller, sorry I can't help myself, and some constant motion is enough to keep your head above your shoulders, such as it is. Even when things get hectic, it never gets too overwhelming, I don't think. Honestly, I find this version to be a tad easier than the 2600 version, which may or may not be a good thing, depends on the player. But then again, it's been a while since I last touched Astro Blast, so my memory may be a bit skewed in that regard. Astrosmash looks fairly decent. Naturally a tad bit nicer than the VCS version due to the much thinner graphics on screen, but otherwise not all that different. Some basic shapes on screen, but enough to recognize what is what. Likewise on the sound front, decent quality sound effects, nice crunchy explosive sounding explosions, clear warning signals for critical targets like bombs or homing drones. Again, not much, but it gets the job done. Overall, Astrosmash is a fun little shooter that plays exceptionally well on Intellivision, and one of the rare instances where you have a nice, simple arcade-style shooting game that isn't completely hindered by the stock Intellivision controller, proving to be just as engaging as fun as the much simpler Astro Blast on 2600. Definitely a winner in my book.